Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. As you can see, as promised, I am here with some wonderful gentlemen for Life and Wisdom Men's Edition. Thank you so much for coming back and watching. And we're going to jump right into the content for today because they want to go see whatever games they want to see. Okay, and I'm not about to be in the middle of that. Praise God. Okay, so we're going to jump right in. I wanted to do this because we did Ladies Edition, right? And the ladies got to speak, of course, not for a collective, but just in general. And I want you all to do the same. I understand, everybody, that they are not the voice for men of all the earth, okay? But they are men with different perspectives, different experiences, different backgrounds. And I really want to make sure that we can talk about different topics with all of those perspectives, all right? So we're going to jump right in. And the first conversation is about the misconceptions and perceptions of manhood, right? And so I'm just going to throw this first question out there and say, what do you all hear as some common misconceptions about what it is to be a man today? And anybody, it can be popcorn right now.
Shoot, I got one.
Okay.
One major misconception is that you got to be emotionally stoic. You can't really express yourself without seeming, I guess you could say, feminine in a sense.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
To add to that, I would say men have to always be strong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
I would just say misconception. It's just to piggyback basically what both you guys said, that weakness is not a sign of strength, but it's actually reverse. You know, being able to show your weakness is a sign of strength because it allows you to be vulnerable in a sense, to know that you don't always have it all together, because it's impossible to really have it all together
All the time.
all the time.
That was an excellent question. My name is Joshua Posey, and I believe that banking off of what these guys have already mentioned, what you said.
And you forgot what you was gonna say?
I did, because I had to introduce myself first.
So what,
was great.
say
It
what
was
you
great,
said.
though.
If
So
that helps.
and then maybe it'll
Yeah,
jog
so
his
very
memory.
good.
Say what you said.
What you were saying hit sparks on.
Basically saying that showing your weakness is a sign of strength.
Yes. So what I was going to say is seeking help. It was always looked upon as a sign of that weakness or a sign of one's inability to be able to do something, instead of an understanding that if you have the courage or if you have the ability to look for help and to seek others that can assist you, that can help to make you stronger. That can help to teach you. It can help for you to teach another, so forth and so on. So yeah, great topic. That was good. And my name's Joshua Posey.
We got it, Joshua Posey.
And just to piggyback
Say
off
your
that,
name.
my name is Taylor Tanksley. That sparked something in me. To piggyback on there is absolutely, like you said, there is absolutely nothing wrong with seeking help, because, like I think I already said it, you cannot do everything in this world by yourself. You're going to need to lean on and depend on someone, whether that be a therapist, whether that be grandpa, grandma, mom, dad. It don't really matter who, but as long as you can trust that person, you don't need to depend and lean on somebody to help you get through life circumstances. So I would say that's a misconception as well, that men won't talk or open up to anyone when we actually will, but it also takes faith and that trust and faith in someone to be able to do so.
All right, absolutely. Thank you. Anybody over here?
My name is Stephen Massey. I would say a misconception would be that manhood is determined by the amount of money that you make. You know, just because you make a lot of money doesn't mean you're a man. And so that's a misconception that I would say.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to that later. Anybody else? No? Okay, so let's go from there, because for a lot of people, definitely ladies, right? They look for someone to be able to provide, to take care of, to hold down the fort, per se. I might be saying that, it sounds really dated to me, but you know what I'm saying, right? What would you say to women who feel like, no, you should be making money? Like, if I don't make money, you should be able to handle it. What would you say to that? anybody.
In today's day and age, that would be considered a bit old-fashioned. A lot of individuals want that independence. They want that ability to be able to sustain themselves. And if you were to sit there and try to place institutionalized roles upon relationships these days, a lot of people are going to look at you and either laugh, be offended, have a problem. Like, you can't look at it that way, because now you all women have more freedoms and more abilities and things that they are allowed to do by society, and that gives them more opportunities that could at some points put them above men as it pertains to either making money or positions, things of that nature. Like, I've been in positions where I've had several managers or higher ups that are females, and I respect them just the same as I would anyone else. So it doesn't particularly change anything. It doesn't mean anything differently.
Buddy, what you gonna say?
My name is Matthew Banks. Biblically speaking, it's not all about the money, because the word says that the woman is supposed to be our helpmeet. It's supposed to help us, meet the need, as a family. The man is always going to be in a leadership position. So, we have to both meet each other in the middle so we can work things out.
I want to piggyback off that. I was getting ready to actually say it's a biblical principle. The man is the head of the household, but like you said, the woman is the helpmeet. It's all about teamwork and coming together as one. I'm not married, but you have examples as growing. Well, I have not many, but I do have a couple examples that you see that they are a helpmeet and to become one. The man and the woman, the man leaves his family, cleaves to the wife, and they become one. So it's all about teamwork. In order for it to be teamwork and to come together as one, there has to be two people that agree on one thing. So that definitely sparks something. It's good.
I was gonna say something too. Do I need a mic, or do I just keep talking? Do I need get a mic? Oh, bit of a reach. Okay. Oh, I got two, don't I? Ah. All right.
Please keep all of these.
Stay right there, Sonny. Yellow cord, stay right there, buddy. Nah, here's the thing. I really think that our generation really got it bad because so much of our lives are governed by social media and what we think a thing should look like, or should be, and and I think it's a really bad connotation to have on it now to let that be your guide, because especially where like the economy is, like having these very unrealistic expectations of a partner, like you like people be like, well, back in the day my grandmama stayed at home, and my grandpa they had 15 kids, he went to work, but I'm like, that's not how life is now. So I think we have to stop allowing social media to govern how we do real life, so
Yeah, absolutely.
I would agree with him, because if you think about it from a money standpoint, if I work in Chicago or if I work in New York, I'm going to make potentially $100,000 or the 6 figures or the 7 figures. But if you bring it back to where we are in Columbus, Ohio, it's the equivalent of $50,000 to $60,000. So then you may have individuals saying, oh, I make this. Okay, that's fine and good, but what are you doing to maintain and manage? What is your maturity? What is your maturation process with those finances? And so when I speak to women, I'm asking them, what other things are you bringing, do you want us to bring to the table outside of money? Okay, where then we start talking about the feminine traits. Some men can cook, some men, I personally love to clean. It's an outlet for me. And so some may look at that as weakness when it really isn't. So when you're talking about a group and you're bringing it together, at that point, you're all bringing something to the table. We're helping the women, and the women are to help us as well.
I guess the question probably matters at what stage of life you're into. For me, how I met my wife in college, if she was to want to be in a relationship with me due to money, then I would have kicked it to the curb. You should want to marry somebody because of their potential, their morals, how they view you, how much faith they have between the two of you and how far you guys can make it. So if it's monetary at an early stage, then that's your issue. If it's later on in life, let's say like in the peak of your career, and the other person is, let's just say kind of BSing through life, then maybe you got a couple red flags. But if you see potential, and if you're a God-fearing person, if you see them as a God-fearing person as well, then work with them.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to touch something on what Steven said, because it's no rule that says the woman is just to cook and clean and do laundry. There's no rule that says that that the woman has to do everything at home while the man is just at work getting the chicken or whatever you want to call it. And so I think people, like Skylar also touched on, social media has painted this picture, especially for us on the younger side, that we are to be the breadwinner and that we are to just sit back, bring the money home, and then kiss the babies and kiss the kids or whatever, and then the wife does everything else at home, when that's not realistic. Because you got to think about it, everybody goes through ups and downs throughout their day, throughout their journey in life. And what if your wife is having a bad day at home? You know what I'm saying? As the man, or I need to pick up and slack in the areas that she can't do today, she can't handle today emotionally, because we are, again, back to being a team.
Yeah.
So
if that mindset were allowed to dominate, though, you see a lot of disconnected fathers in homes that would feel as though once they've done their job at their job, then when they get home, there's nothing else. They're not required to do anything else. They're not required to be involved, not required to have that interpersonal touch and connection with their children. Like, I don't have any kids myself, but I've been around children my entire life. I've been in daycares. I've been around little nieces and nephews, and just being able to have that impact as a male in their lives changes lives. Like, there are kids now that we used to watch that were little children and babies that are now in their early 20s, and they look at us the same as they did then. They still will run up to us, Mr. Josh, Mr. Skyler, Miss Jasmine, like, just because they see us, and we've impacted their lives in such a great fashion from just a small little involvement, 8 hours a day maybe during the summer, 4 hours a day after school. It means a lot. Becoming a disconnected individual because of those set forth standards, like having that 1950s fatherhood, like you come home and you just have dinner and then you go off and be in your own space. Like, you don't get to interact with your children. You don't get to have those interpersonal relationships. That kind of thing can create a downward spiral that would lead to even more of the negativity surrounding black fathers specifically.
And that's interesting, because to go back to what Greg said about where you are in your life, so like for me now, 35, okay, I'm not ashamed of that. And a lot of women my age are like, well, if I get with a man, I can't, he can't not do for me what I can do for myself, essentially. Like, a lot of women feel like that. And go ahead, Kyle.
I think it's important, too, that we got to realize that providing isn't just financial. It's also organization, discipline, guidance, mental, physical, things of that nature. So, just because you providing financial, that doesn't make you a man or make you masculine. You know what I'm saying? You can have all the money in the world and that's all you do, but you come home, you don't tend to the kids, you don't tend to the wife, you don't help with nothing, you just provide financially. That's not really masculine in my eyes, and I don't think women should, based off monetary value to a man, because you got men out here who are bus drivers, teachers, etc., making, I don't know, 30 to 70K. Great fathers, great men. They get overlooked. You know what I'm saying? I was raised by those type of men. My football coaches didn't make that type of money. And, I consider myself a great man. So I don't think that providing financially is the only thing that we should look at.
And I appreciate that, because that's where I was going, right? Is that a lot of times we as women, and I'll say this, right? I'm not speaking for all women, but I know this is a mindset that a lot of women need to let it die, is that it's just monetary, that it's just financial, because then you miss the man, right? You miss what else he can bring to you, because his money is not going to console me when I need consoling. It's not going to comfort me when I need that, right? Like, and that's emotionally, mentally, physically, all of that, right? So I think we really have to make sure that, I'm sorry y'all, this bee is distracting me. We really have to make sure that we let that go and don't miss men. And I say that because, like you said, I look at my father, and he made way less money than my mother when they got married. Like that was a big point of contention while I was growing up, for a lot of different reasons, you know. And one thing I saw is like my dad literally prayed like, okay, God, by the end of my life, I want this to be reversed, right? I mean, he had that desire, and it was because my mom was, first of all, a little bit older than my dad. She was much more educated than my dad, so her opportunities were going to be a lot different. Yeah. And what I saw was, and especially now, even after, like my mom doesn't have to worry about her mortgage, even in my dad's death. Like he set things up, yeah, so that my mom is set until she leaves, yeah, right? No time soon, yeah, God, right? But it's like, that's a man, yeah, you know, and he was an amazing dad. Y'all know that already, because I talk about him all the time. But it's like I saw just as a man and a woman, yeah, and the ability for my mom to see his growth, for him to see hers. Like it was just interesting to me because I think she learned, and I'm saying this as a woman, that you have to give man the space to be who he is, right, and allow him to provide for you in every way, yeah, not just monetarily, yeah. And I saw that really make a difference in the end of their marriage, right, and that it was powerful for me because now as a woman, I'm not looking just for you to give me money, yeah, right, because I know that money, it comes and goes, yeah, you know, you could be making $100,000 today, and then your job can be gone, yeah, tomorrow. Right, and do you have the right woman behind you that's not going to leave and everything going to fall apart because, you know, y'all don't know how to survive without it. So, yeah.
You know, I'll say, like, growing up, I watched, like, my mom, like, my dad for what I remember for, like, the first half of my life, he was, like, my mom and dad had, like, the traditional old school model. It's, like, my mom was so there's six of us, and my parents just kept having kids, my God. Just kept having a lot of kids. I thank God I'm here. But yeah, my dad, he was the breadwinner. I watched my dad go to work. My mom, she was like just the quintessential like homemaker. Like she's a fantastic cook. She raised all her kids. Like made sure we was dressed, got us off to school. House was like immaculately clean, all that. And there came a shift like where my dad, his financial situation ended up changing. And like my mom was the one who ended up like, well, she had like a little like side job. Well, it was supposed to be like a side job, whatever, that she ended up getting, but it ended up becoming like the main job, like for the house. And so, but like I always just admired like how, you know, my mom, like when that time came, she was like, she got in there and did it. Like she did it all the way to the end of her life. Like she just, you know, her main goal is that, you know, that our family as a whole didn't go under. So it's just like the point that I'm making is just like I think in marriage and relationships, like seeing how we can be there for each other, not just pulling the weight from one person to see like, well, you need to be doing this. It's like how can we both come together and be here for our family unit, you know? So I think we gotta get back to that, you know. Yes. And not say, well, I'm leaving because you little brokey, you know, I can't, you know, you can't help me the way I thought you could, you know. Right. So yeah.
Well, I appreciate this because I think the overall takeaway was, like you said, getting back to the heart of teamwork and knowing that it's not just financial, right? The ways that a man can give to his family, right, and that qualifies him as a man. And so I appreciate all of your thoughts and what you shared, because I think this is going to sit with a lot of ladies. And ladies, please respond in the comment. Let me know what you think, how you're feeling about what has been said. Because like I said last year when I did the individual sets, remember your house, and we did it at the other place. Next year, I'm saying this to hold myself accountable, I want to do a men and women together.
Nice.
Because I think that's important. I think a lot of times we don't hear each other. And so having these opportunities for them to hear you first and then come together, I think it's going to be really cool. So just had to put that out there. And thank you all for this first episode. And we'll see you next week.